I think today at the shop it was murderous.
It is a shame, but that's why you listen to JRA. They teach you the way, and they can explain why.
Brought to you by maple syrup flavored jelly beans.
Hello and welcome to You Got It, the latest episode of Just Riding Along on Mountain Bike Radio. The entire time we're going to talk really fast because Kenny's in a hurry. Tonight's show is brought to you by Santa wasn't coming anyways, so we're recording on Christmas Eve. And you got it. Santa's white ass ain't welcome here. So with that,
let's just right off the bat just go ahead and offend everyone. It's cool.
It was a joke.
I know.
Santa, he doesn't come down our chimney. He'd probably have to leave it outside in case we got to keep up the ruse.
That chimney's like 8 inches wide.
Yeah, he'd fit. So with that, let's get going. It's going to be a quick one. Oh my God. Kenny's over there like blow drying his hair.
Just moving the mic. We're good.
Oh, same difference. Moving the mic, blow drying your hair. What's new with me? I traveled back to Memphis last week and hung out. What's really cool about that is my nephew got a bike for Christmas, and he really likes building things out of blocks. He likes building Legos and stuff, and he plays with all of my old Legos, and he really wanted to build some Legos with me. And what I had done is I had tricked him all day and told him, we'll build something once my sister gets home. We'll build something once your mom gets home. And then his mom came home and we built his bike out of the box. And like, he got to use the Allen wrenches and like, he put the pedals on and like, it was super cool. And the next day I went for a run and while he rode his bike, and it was a hoot.
The hardest run you've ever done.
Dude, I was wearing like really tight jeans and I just put my shoes on. I didn't think he was going to but he had like little boy new bike jitters, and he's like
new bike watts.
Yeah, new bike watts, and he's hossing on it, and he's like rallying. So like I'd get really like winded because there was no warm up. It was probably just like
you went from like front door to sprint, basically.
Yeah, pretty much like front door to like flat out running. And my little bit of running knowledge, probably like 7-minute miles. Well, we didn't go that far, but it was just like immediately go inside, I'd be like, okay, let's practice our brakes and like tricked him into slowing down and stuff. So that's really, really all that I have going on. We still have some demo bikes for sale at the shop, but that's just about it. And I just ran to the liquor store because I realized that the liquor store is going to be closed tomorrow and I didn't have any beer. And I don't work, and we're going to do some exercising, and then I'm going to want to drink some cheap beer and cook. And there was no cheap beer. And I was like,
yeah, Matt literally, like, we were sitting here just kind of milling around before we recorded. And he literally, like, all of a sudden stood up and, like, shoved his chair back, stomped into the other room and put his jacket on, and then, like, rushed for the back door. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Like, gotta get beer. And I like went to the liquor store and back in 5 minutes in my house shoes. So
it was even less than that. I think it was fast.
It's pretty quick. So, yeah, that's everything that's going on with me, and no show donations for this show.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I was going to ask.
All right, anything out of Andrea?
I ordered a new bike, and I think our listeners are really going to like this because we've talked shit on gravel bikes so much. I mean, not so much, but we've talked shit about them. The other day, Matt and I were riding on an unpaved road, and I was riding my Trek Boone rim brake cyclocross bike with, cyclocross size tires, and it's okay. And it does the job pretty well. But, the more I ride it, the more I'm like, a tiny bit, not humongous tires. I don't want like mountain bike tires on a cross bike. I'm like, a little bit more tire and a little bit more brake wouldn't be a bad thing here in Colorado because we live around some like Jeep roads and stuff that get a little like deep and sketchy and loose. But we also live around pavement and really nice gravel. And, I was just kind of like got it in my head that it'd be nice to kind of like update the bike I'm on. And I was kind of lamenting to Matt. I'm like, God, I wish someone would just make like basically a cyclocross geometry bike, but with disc brakes and more tire clearance. And he's like, you mean the new Ibis? Like, what? And sure enough, it's kind of the same geometry, like, like bottom bracket height wise and head tube angle and stuff. It's similar enough to the Boone. it's not like a super long, super relaxed geometry, like a super touring gravel bike. It's definitely made to where if you wanted to, you could slap some narrower tires on it and go to a cyclocross race, and you would not be disadvantaged by the geometry of your bike, which is that's definitely what I was looking for. I just had not looked at the bike because I just hadn't really shopped for those bikes. And so I've got one on order. And I'm hoping to go do some cool shit on it.
And one other quick thing. That was the day that I decided that, so a combo between riding the trainer and what I'm running into is on my 1x cross bike. On the trainer, my 42 tooth chainring is not big enough. And on the road, my 42 tooth chainring is not small enough. So I'm going to buy all the proper bits. So front shifter and new rear derailleur, and install 2x11 onto my Crockett, because the 1x11 is just not doing it for me.
Yeah.
I don't want the jumps of a 1042 cassette. I want the range of a 5034. So I have full complement of gearing on the trainer, full complement of gearing on the road going uphill. And that's my plan. So
yeah, and I am going to try this one by. I have a little concern about what Matt's talking about. Like I do ride the trainer a good bit in the wintertime. And we started today and I put the boon on the trainer. So at least for now, I'll probably keep the boon around. I'm not going to put it up for sale just yet, but it is a really good bike. But I am going to do one by Rival. I had the option of either Ultegra Di2 or a Rival build. And I went with the Rival. The only thing I'm changing, Ibis is nice enough. They're a small company, and they box their bikes and parts and stuff up there at their office, basically. And I was able to get them to switch out. The wheels will come with an XD driver body instead of a splined free hub, because I want to use a 1042 cassette instead of the 1142 it comes with stock. So I just want that little extra bit of range.
And for those of you that are confused about what Andrea just said, there's some companies that, like a Trek Marlin 8 in Taiwan, the bicycle is produced, assembled, boxed, and sent over. And when Trek fulfills your order, they mail you the box. And then you have a company like like Santa Cruz, Ibis, Yeti, these smaller guys or companies, when they send you a bike, like they grab your frame, they grab your build kit, they grab your wheels, they box it up, they mail it to you.
Yeah, so they can't go quite as far as, like, I did ask, like, could you do a 1042 cassette instead of the 1142? And it's like, no, then we'd have to break apart a build kit. And then the build kits do come from the company, pre-assembled, boxed up, wrapped up, ready to put in the bike box with the frame and wheels. So, they weren't able to do that, but they are able to do stuff like change out my change to an XD driver. So I'm going to see how I like it. It's going to be my shop bike. So if I end up just kind of feeling meh about it, I'll
buy Felicia.
Yeah, it'll go up for sale, and some lucky buyer in this area or a listener can buy it sometime next year.
All right, moving on, because we're on a time budget. What is new with Kenny?
Yeah, so I just did a weekend trip to St. George, which is down south. It's been kind of cold and shitty and snowy here. So, yeah, I went to St. George. That place is phenomenal. So if anybody lives even near there or has heard of it, or you want to take a trip out, as a destination just to go to St. George, like, it's pretty much that good. It's awesome. It's just got really good stuff.
What's the weather? What's the weather like there? Is it kind of desert, like high desert, or is it like sea level desert?
Yeah, I think I'd say high desert would be a pretty good description. I don't know exactly what the elevation is. I'm guessing when you go all the way to the top of one of the mesas, it's probably maybe 4 or 5. It's probably 5,000 feet would be my guess.
All right.
So anyway, super good time. We rode the trail called Zen, Zen. And it's just a really good representation of really everything. There's a little bit of exposure. just really fun techie climbing, like a little bit of slick rock type stuff, but just fun. But it's also kind of single tracky. There's definitely a few places where you can kind of pick your own adventure, if you will, which is awesome. Like really techie descents where you pretty much need a dropper. But just fun, chunky stuff. Like you can kind of go as fast as you could possibly go. And just had an awesome time.
Wait.
So that was super fun.
Kenny, who doesn't put a dropper on his bike, says that this trail needs a dropper.
Yep.
All right.
I don't have a dropper, but
you needed one.
Probably need one. So I felt good. So I went, I don't know. I've been 2 times now, I think. And I've definitely cleared, like 99% of the trail now. So super happy about that. And we explored some like big line stuff that was super sketchy. There's like a little mini Red Bull Rampage spot over there. And we played around on some stuff. I got the balls up to do some kind of some drops into chutes and stuff. And that was really fun.
One of those things where you drop in and you don't have the option of stopping once you're in.
I mean, it's not that. It's nice and wide open at the bottom. You just don't really need to stop. But like when you go off this thing, you're going is basically what it means. But it was super fun. No issues or anything. I'll reiterate that my bike is awesome. I'm just so happy with that bike. It pedals awesome. The suspension is just like, it's just good. That Fox 34 especially, like you can just cram that bike into shit and it just kind of goes over it. So really good time. Anything else of note there? I don't think so.
While you're thinking, I'll just say there's a kind of like shoot drop thing around here. And it's not really, it's just like a really nicely built like drop into a nice landing. The one right over here by the tracks, the one that's not in the jump line.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a 7, try not to exaggerate. When I'm standing where you land, I can't see on to where you take off from. So it's probably 7 feet, at least 7 to 8 feet. And it's one of those things I look at it and I don't do it. And I look at it and I don't do it. I'm just going to have to do it. Like as soon as it's like, it's just been wearing on my mind. So yeah.
Dude, the thing about St. George is there are probably 100 of those features everywhere. They're hidden all over the place. And there's some like really big shit, but there's other stuff that like I know is doable and I've seen other people do and I get to it. I'm just like, So it's fun because there's stuff you can work up to because it's possible. Like it's not completely full blown rampage insanity, but just stuff where even on an XC bike. So I watched a guy who's really good here. He's a pro and he was on the new Epic. And he just sent it off of some really big shit. Like if Specialized saw him doing what he was doing, they would have a heart attack. Right. So yeah, awesome. So FYI, if you're curious, a Epic can do like without a doubt, like an 8-foot drop into a chute. It's not
with
a problem.
With a dropper or without?
No dropper and the brain fork 100 mil.
Not even like the little baby dropper, like the 35 mil?
Nope, no dropper. Just
man.
Full Nino.
Yeah, straight skill, some balls. It was, super cool to watch. I wish I got some video of some of it, but pretty cool.
You washed your bike in a bathtub.
That was Jeff's bike, but
an RKT was washed in a bathtub.
Yeah, that is true. That did happen. Because the first day it was just it's so silty and that stuff sticks to everything and your drivetrain makes noises that no drivetrain should ever make. Just so bad. I don't understand how it's possible. I've got a little video. I'll post it. It's of the little super baby rampage spot. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Other than that, that's about it. I think is there anything else cool? I don't really think so.
How's the Woo?
The Woo is awesome. Drives good. Still runs. Hadn't blown it up yet. Let's see. In other news, I guess I can talk about it because this is America. SRAM came by and I guess when they have bandwidth, I don't want other shops to like be upset or whatever, but it just is what it is. We're a pretty high volume shop and also
a really high volume shop.
Yeah. Like one of the biggest in the country. So anyway, SRAM was nice enough to send somebody by to preemptively just pretty much warranty all the brakes we had on the floor. So I mean, that's good of them. I mean, they are really trying to step up and do the right thing. So that was cool. And I definitely appreciate that.
Wait, did they install them?
Yeah, they did everything.
Wow, that's cool.
Did they like wheel a bike out, fix it, bring it back in, wheel it out, or did they borrow space and like chat with your guys?
No, I mean, I gave him space in the back, but he had all of his own stuff. And yeah, he was on point for sure. He was like I wanted to get pictures and video, but I thought maybe that's not the best idea. But he was basically like double wielding syringes and had like electronic, he had like little baby electric driver that was a torque wrench as well. And he was like doing 9 things at once. To get long story short, he was putting from the bike in the stand to bike out of the stand was about 5 minutes per bike.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was fast, and he did a lot of bikes.
So I'm guessing if they're doing like new bikes, he's just like using that. I'm just thinking of like stuff that takes time when you bleed brakes. Like you would empty the dot fluid and get fresh dot fluid, but he probably just reused because they're new bikes and new dot fluid.
Yeah, he had his little method, and he was doing it for what it's worth. This is what I've been doing, and some people are like, "Oh, it's not right," but it's been working fine, and that's exactly what he did. He was doing a lever bleed only, and it worked fine. So
he was just doing a lever swap, bleeding the lever, calling it good.
Yeah, exactly.
And occasionally, I'm sure there was an issue.
Maybe, I don't know. For the most part, it looked like he wasn't having any issues. But anyway, kind of cool to see that. So they know there's an issue. They're stepping up and they're doing it. It's just, it's been frustrating.
Was he there for one day?
He was there for maybe half a day.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, he was probably there for a solid 3 hours. He probably did 30 bikes.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the 2 sets of guides that I have been pretty fucking awesome.
Mine are good. So,
yeah.
Anything else, or do you want to rally through questions? Before we continue, we're not going to do a show next week. It's New Year's Eve. We're all going to get crunk, turned, lit, AF, whatever
I'm
the
be
kids
driving
these
to
days say.
Memphis.
Whatever.
We're driving to Memphis.
Still going to be lit on I-70. So we won't do a show next week. So
Sweet, let's do some questions.
Okay, so Trey,
let's machine gun this shit.
Trey L has a fork follow-up. Hey, just want to give you a follow-up on my question. He's the guy that sent in and wanted to change the weight of oil in the damper in his Marzocchi fork. He says, after listening to you all chat it over, I don't think it's worth it. Kenny mentioned it'll make all the other damping feel like crap, and I haven't considered it affecting that either. Being that I'm on a super budget, hence the old gear, I don't want to waste my money on oil that may just make it feel like poo, even if it won't break it. I was willing to try it, but all your comments helped me make a better educated decision on it. As for Andrea's comment about getting a new fork, yada, 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 I'm financially stuck riding old equipment that is merely okay or not riding a bike at all. I have a wife, a kid, and a home is on a strain for the wallet at 26 years old. He's riding a 2008 Giant Rain X2. Yeah, old stuff. But you all gave me the info I needed, and thank you very much. So that was pretty cool. Thanks for the follow-up, Trey. Kurt.
So if any listeners out there have an old 26er fork, I'm assuming 26er.
Yeah.
Throw it his way.
Yeah, if you have an old 26-inch, like, they made a Revelation 26.
Yeah, they had Revelations. They had obviously tons of Foxes. You can get a float or a Talus or something like that.
If you have an old 26-inch fork, hit me up. I'll help
you know what? I might have a fork.
Okay.
So shoot me a follow-up on dimensions and axle type and all that kind of stuff. Might have something for you.
Cool. I'm making a note now to get you two connected. I'll email the two of you together. Kurt G has some Trek sizing questions. He says, JRA, I'm interested in a Trek Fuel EX 9.8. Yeah. Matt and Andrea are both on the Fuel EX8. Is that because it's the bike? Both on the Fuel EX. Is that because it's the bike that most interests you, or because your personal pricing on Trek is so attractive? Both, I think.
It was the pricing.
I just really liked what I could get for what I could pay, and I knew I liked the way that the Trek suspension pedaled from riding my Top Fuel. So I didn't like the sizing on a 429 trail. It was way too short. He says, I'm 5'7" or more when barefoot. Trek sizing chart has me between 17.5 and 18.5 frames. Demo is not an option. Local bike shops are small and don't stock or sell many. I feel like the 18.5 is the better option as its fit can be tuned more easily. Your thoughts, Kurt? Andrea is 5'6" and rides the 17.5.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on the small side.
My gut tells me 17.5.
Yeah. I mean, if a person walks in and is like looking me in the eye and asking about bike size, I will tell them my bike size. And unless yours is just very oddly proportioned, it usually works out.
Unless it's a dude, and that means he's 6 foot no matter what.
That's why I just say a person that walks in and talks to me about bike size.
Yeah.
Any person, because they're...
Yeah. So as I see this guy that I know is probably an inch shorter than me, and I'm like, hey, man, how tall are you? I'm 6 foot. I'm like, yeah, okay.
And Kenny, you're a
All
solid
right.
5'10" or 11, right?
Just heads up. Yeah, I'm like, man, on a good day, I'm 5'11", maybe 5'10". So it means you're probably 5'9", which means you're not fucking close to 6 foot. But I'll sell you a large anyway if that makes you feel good.
Hell yeah, baby. If a medium's good, large is better because, God damn it, there's more.
Yeah. Oh, man. Fucking dudes are really dumb a lot of the time.
So what he can do is whatever his shop does have in stock, he needs to look at the geometry chart for that and compare the stack and the reach, especially the reach for that bike versus the reach on the Fuel EX. And that's how he will know, if he gets on it and it's like, oh, I'm going to need like a 150 millimeter stem for this to work, then it's not going to be right. So just do that. Like, look at what your options are and stuff you can just like ride around in the parking lot and compare the geometry charts as far as fit numbers. The head tube angle is going to change a little bit. Don't like don't ride around on like a downhill bike with a 50-degree head tube angle that,
or better yet,
it's going to fuck with that. But
test ride Trek Marlins
yeah,
or whatever they have in stock. And then if you have any questions, if the shop can't help you, email me and tell me what size was the best, and I'll help you understand how they're the same size.
Yeah.
Whatever Trek is the same
Yeah,
size.
I mean, you can definitely change the stem on there, but it's usually best to not go to extremes on that.
Oh, God. We got to go.
All right, we got to go.
So Mike
Matt's
P.
hitting the wrap it up button.
Mike P sent over a song for us. And pretty cool. Thanks for thinking of us, Mike. I'll post it up with the show. So just to keep moving on, Nathan F says Reddit user Alex DI, so that's ALEXDI, created something I thought you guys would get a kick out of. A chart of every mountain bike cassette over 360% range. So like all large range cassettes, between 8 and 12 speeds, including weight, price, range, and the standard deviation of the gear jumps. I nerded out for a while.
Wow.
Thanks and keep up the great work, Nate from the interwebs. And I just looked at this and fuck, this thing is sick.
That is cool.
There's like cassettes
So
that I didn't know existed.
Is this like a link or is this something you got sent or what?
It's a link to an open read-only Google Doc.
Well, send that shit to me.
I will. If you can send me, remember that time you like told us about the video where every downhill racer was like destroying tires on the 27.5 Plus bikes?
Yeah.
I don't know how to Google that. Like I tried finding it and I can't find it.
Google
Yeah.
27.5 plus tire destruction.
I think it's something like, Pro DH 27.5 plus versus 29 or something like that. Here, I'll Google that. Let's see how long of a phrase we can search.
Okay, cool. So those are the two kind of like shout out type things. And then we do have a kind of like beefier one. So long lead up.
Beefy.
Tom from Illinois says, what's the deal with suspension travel? So guys, just recently discovered your podcast, going back and listening to old episodes. Love the mix of crass humor, bike tips, etc. Andrew's the only one that doesn't seem to have a nickname. How about Sassy Single Speed? Wow.
I mean, off air, they usually call me a salty bitch, but
I think today at the shop it was Murderous Thunder Cunt. But Tom says, I had a similar incident with falling on my butt as Andrea did in her bike race on a bridge. If you're not familiar, Andrea wrecked.
I fell on my asshole.
She wrecked directly onto the chocolate starfish. That move is now the starfish splatter. It was in Hayward, Wisconsin on the Hatchery Creek trails in September. Matt might know the
call
spot.
Me starfish.
It came across a timber bridge on a creek and decided to stop in and take the view. Turns out it was slick as snot. I was slowing down, unclipped a foot as I prepared to stop, and the bike shot out horizontally underneath me. I landed on my arse, smacking my tailbone square pretty hard. Hurt like a son of a bitch. Okay, so his real question, though, because I can never get over enough falling on your ass humor.
I fell on my ass on Wednesday, I think. Yeah, it was Wednesday. It was on ice.
So his question is, seems like there's a trend now on full suspension bikes that have less travel on the rear than on the front. I suspect that this is in an effort to shorten the chainstays. What are your thoughts? The pros versus cons. Do you need not as much shock travel compared to the fork? Short answer, rigid bikes are terrible. 100 mil hardtails are great. You got 100 up front. You got nothing out back. The rear follows the front better. So that's kind of the trend of over forking, as the path would
the
call
front
it.
is the steering end.
Yeah. It's also the face.
As long as you can get that front end over shit, especially when you're like really going down techie stuff, the back's just going to kind of follow. I mean, the only time you need big travel in the back is if you're taking like legitimately huge hits. But even then, if it's like a smooth landing, you really don't need much travel. Look at the dirt jump guys. I mean, they're doing ridiculous heights, and most of those are hardtails. So, but you'll notice that, a lot of them run forks. So just something to think about. Yeah, you don't need tons of suspension in the back. So my bike, for example, is 120 and 90. I'm really happy with that. I really wouldn't change it. That stump jumper I probably will get. It'll be 150, 135. That's like kind of normal.
God, can
that's what the Switchblade was too.
The Switchblade was 160, 130, wasn't it?
It was 150.
Yeah. Switchblade was
It had the
bike.
option of doing 160.
Switchblade was a weird bike.
I liked it.
Okay, next question.
It doesn't really have much to do with it's not really in an effort of shortening the chainstays, though. That's kind of the final part of your question we haven't touched on. Chainstay length can be manipulated regardless of the travel. I mean, there's limitations, of course, but the big thing is the rear wheel follows so much better. The front wheel tracks, the rear wheel follows. So, it's just because you need a lot up front and you can get away with less out back. When you have less out back, you can make things shorter.
You can actually pedal the bike too. That's an important thing.
Yep, and that's what I was going to say. Is it's a byproduct of making the bike more efficient because there's less suspension, so it has less pedal bob. So, and that's fucking it. That's a show.
Boom.
I feel like that's really short.
That was really short.
No, 27 minutes and whatever we wrap it up at. So
perfect.
Did you find that link, Kenny?
No, I found some other ones, but I didn't find that particular one. I think it was like, maybe, was it Australian? It was like Australian or British or something from what I remember.
Here's the deal.
At least like the hosting bike shop or
here's the deal. If there's a listener out there, if you find that late, it posted with our old show notes. If you,
okay, I just found it.
Fuck. Okay, cool. Kenny found it. I was going to offer up something awesome for someone, but it's not going to happen. I'll post.
At least, well, shit, I think I did. So this is the Global Mountain Bike Network, which I believe that sounds really familiar. Hold on. Damn it. Okay, this is getting close, but that's not actually it. Damn it. This is going to drive me nuts. It was definitely one of those, one of those it's one of those places that does a bunch of videos. So Global Mountain Bike Network or one of those folks.
Yeah.
Nah, shit.
So here's the deal. It's in our show link somewhere.
You just have to go back and listen to every show.
No. If you find it and send me a link to it, the first person that does it, send me that link with your address and I'll mail you stickers.
And a water bottle.
Nope, just stickers.
Oh,
just
greedy bitch.
No, it's not greed.
I'm trying to remember what rider was in that. It was one of the older pro DH guys. Shit. It wasn't Minar. It was, I think might have been Steve Pete. Let's see.
We're going to literally talk 10% of this show.
So they basically took a bike with way more sidewall and they cut the sidewalls on
All
them.
right, finally, I fucking
Kenny found it. No
so
offer.
Kenny gets a sticker pack.
Kenny gets fucking stickers. It's sick.
Boom. All right, so here's the link. Got it.
Will you Facebook message that to me?
Here I can. There it is there.
Oh damn.
And now it's going in
there, and
it's going in the Facebook.
I sent you that link to that doodad too. So cool. That's a show.
Right.
Don't expect anything next week, but we will do some stuff soon-ish. Call this our semi-planned, semi-annual or usually happens winter holiday break. Yeah. Anything else anyone needs to add to anything?
Happy solstice.
The days are getting longer.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening to the show where Santa wasn't coming anyway, so we recorded because he wasn't going to bring his butt to our house and deliver us packages because he's not a real thing.
Damn.
Boom.
You know, kids listen to this.
Yeah, and if they listen to this, they know what the F word means, and they also know that Santa's not real.
We take you to market to sell, right? Now you can afford the bike that you want, that job at the mall ain't pay you enough. Now shit getting rough. You thinking that you need to sell all your stuff, when it is more likely the problem with biking is that you're just prone to fucking shit up. You suck. Try to get a new head before you get a bike. Maybe get a trike with the wheelies on the side. Then you gotta get it till you get it better. Maybe then you make it cheddar instead of looking like a lame ass. And if you get confused, you can ask J-R-A. Get hip to the name, cause baby the realest of you sucker is lame. It is a shame, but that's why you listen to J-R-A. They teach you the way, and they can explain why.
Jelly beans.